I turned this into this. Oh, these are good. I know I've never done this before, people. This was amazing. And oh, I didn't even plug in my microphone yet. Ooh, I was so excited sharing you my cupcake. So what I did, let me get, okay, so what I did was I just used the pancake mix, almond milk, and coconut oil. And I had one that I put a little chocolate treat in the middle. Next, I'm going to use cocoa and I'm going to use chocolate chips and see what I get with that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, okay? So it's just a little treat, you know, when I can't find muffins, organic muffins where I'm at. So that is just a big win for me, a huge win. So how are you guys all doing? Well, tonight I want to talk to you about gaslighting. Oh yeah, gaslighting. It is insidious. It isn't just a lie. It's an enigma. It's a deliberate action based on a deliberate plan to control someone's thoughts and decisions so that the gaslighter can remain in control of the relationship, just so that they can do what they want to do without changing their behavior. Ooh. Welcome to the show. My name is Shannon and I'm going to talk to you about gaslighting. What kind of person is a gaslighter anyway? I mean, how is gaslighting formed? Is it from bad parental guidance as it's assumed, or is there something more to this behavioral disorder that we are not yet seeing? Can anyone become a gaslighter, and how can you protect yourself from this insidious behavior? That's what we're going to find out in this video, so stick around. Welcome to Positively Spiritual. My name is Shannon Gilmore, and on this channel we deep dive, I mean deep dive, into the spiritual aspects of your being to kick trauma in its assets. Here you are welcome to comment, ask questions, network with others, as this is your place to find healing, hope, and restoration. I share with you how to end the trauma drama by meeting yourself on the other side of it in a loving relationship with yourself that will last a lifetime, because this relationship is the protection that you have always needed. So stick around to the end of this video, because I'm going to give you the deets, the details on gaslighting. So pull up a chair, get comfy, get your drink. Oh, I didn't even get my drink of water. Get comfy, because this video may help excuse me, may help prevent you from being the target of gaslighting antics. I say that and then I start getting a scratchy throat. Typical, right? So what is gaslighting, and how effective is it really? Well, gaslighting is when an individual manipulates and maligns anyone to believing that the truth is as it appears to be according to the gaslighter, full stop. There can be evidence to substantiate the contrary. There can be a shared experience that everyone shares in the same experience, and the gaslighter will refute that shared experience and that evidence, and they will strong arm or have a stranglehold on the truth as they try to convince you and lead you to believe that the narrative that you know to be true just didn't happen. The person who is prone to gaslighting behaviors undermines other people's experiences and perception, so much so that one is left to question their own faculties and their own belief system. What one sees, what one hears, what one experiences and feels is filtered through the gaslight to the point one doubts their reality and their perception of it. It is the go-to tactics of a narcissistic individual, and it is extremely effective as it gives the 1-2 emotional punch with the right, left, uppercut that leads to the knockout of the target in a cacophony of questions set in doubt. And this is really, really serious here, because it can cause someone to have feelings of depression to the point where they want to unalive themselves. Gaslighting causes one to question their sanity, as it causes deep, deep anxiety, hypervigilance, even PTSD in those who are trauma bonded to their abuser with gaslighting. So what creates a gaslighter? Well, gaslighters are individuals who are predisposed to toxic emotional environments in some way. Now, this is believed to happen early on in life, as psychology says that a gaslighter or a narcissist is made from the childhood home, bad parenting, smothering, or neglect. Now, it is believed gaslighting is used by the narcissist as a means to avoid disciplinary action by maligning the truth. Well, going back to the childhood home, the child back then even uses gaslighting, and the truth is the child themselves cannot be corrected with discipline. Discipline doesn't really work for these kinds of people. It's not effective, and the child avoids discipline by gaslighting their parents or gaslighting their caregivers, gaslighting the people in position of power as a way to get out of facing a consequence. Because when they face these consequences or discipline, that's when they become bitterly offended. This is because of living in a toxic family upbringing, but it goes deeper than that. It's my humble opinion, and it's just an opinion based on what I know about science, that there is actually a genetic predisposition for gaslighting, as gaslighting is a trait of the sociopathic and the psychopathic narcissist. Yeah. This genetic predisposition has spiritual roots, as the heart of the parents combine to create the heart of the individual, the psychopath or the sociopath, at the time of conception. Living in a toxic family home just solidifies this predisposition. It validates it. Now, there are extenuating factors that can usurp this, and I'm convinced that through blood transfusions, an individual is saved from a horrific life of separation from the human collective if the donor was a Christian and had a heart for God. Now, I make my claim because the Bible tells us that the life of an animal is its blood. Therefore, we shall not eat bloodied meat. So when we do, we take in the life of that animal. We become more beast-like when we ingest animals' blood over a long period of time. So there are other factors as well that help to create the heart of darkness in an individual, but this is just a light touching on the subject. Like, it's just I encourage you to do your own research and comment what you find. Because in blood, there is water, obviously. Water or blood is made out of, I think it's 96-97% water. And if you understand the spiritual aspects of water, you will know that water holds memory. And this is part of the reason why I think that gaslighting or narcissism is a genetic inclination that has spiritual roots that trace right back to conception, but also is fundamentally solidified in the womb. See, the developing fetus in the mother's womb is surrounded by water, and water holds memory. Just look at Dr. Emoto's water experiments. You can do this research for yourself. The developing fetus is surrounded by water, and the baby is connected to the mother's blood supply, where food and energy is exchanged through the umbilical cord, which also supplies oxygen to the baby via blood flow. So, according to scripture, we know that blood contains life. The life of the baby and mother is in constant contact with each other through this umbilical cord. So we have the womb absorbing outside energies, such as sounds and vibrations and frequencies of other people. And the interactions that the mother has with other people doesn't just stay on the outside of her, it's absorbed by her body naturally and through the water in her womb. So water, we know, responds positively and negatively to intentions within our words. So if you have a highly volatile situation between mother and father fighting while pregnant, I mean, that baby absorbs that negativity. So it's highly likely that behaviorally immoral people are created through the imprinting that they receive in the womb and through conception. So how do gaslighters target people anyway? Well, gaslighters do not necessarily pick their targets. Anyone is a potential target for them. They can spot vulnerability through the eyes, just as we know we can spot the narcissist through the eyes and the eyebrows. The narcissist can spot us, kind, caring, nurturing people, because we carry a quality of innocence that can be seen through eye contact. We have that spark of life, right? And this innocence by in itself has a trusting quality. I think that is what gaslighters ultimately look for, because when we form rapport or conversations with people, there's an automatic trust there. And the narcissist or the gaslighters, they look for a quality in that unconditional love that we have that allows one to automatically trust. And that's why children and women make such easy targets, because we are so open. Now, it is said that there are more male gaslighters than there are female ones. Well, yeah, at one time that was true, but look around today. The more society is imbalanced in their spiritual, feminine, and masculine energies, we're seeing more and more women become gaslighting pariahs. So, can anyone be a gaslighter? I mean, is it behaviorally or cognitively contagious? Is gaslighting influential in creating other gaslighters through association? Well, not really. I mean, anyone can gaslight. And most of us have gaslit someone at one time or another to avoid getting caught for something we did. But the gaslighting that we do, it's not malicious and it doesn't stick. We grab a clue quite easily as we understand that gaslighting or lying hurts other people as well as it hurts us. It backfires. It really serves no purpose when you're walking in truth and integrity. We have empathy as our moral compass, and that's why we just don't gaslight. It's not worth it. It's not worth hurting somebody else. We are steered away from committing wrongs against others through the empathy that we hold in our hearts. But a gaslighter, they don't have the filter of empathy. They are of the personality disorder called narcissism. They're of the psychopath or sociopath paradigm, and there is no cure. Gaslighting is insidious, and it isn't just a lie, it's an enigma. It's a deliberate action based on deliberately planned ideologies to set out to control someone's thoughts and decisions so that the gaslighter can remain in control of the relationship or the situation, just so that they can do, have, or be what they want without changing their behavior. To be a gaslighter, one has to forsake healthy relationships, because a narcissist, a gaslighting narcissist, they don't do healthy. They can't stand healthy relationships. See, healthy relationships are about bonding together in mutual moral compromise. Gaslighters twist the narrative to suit their inner beliefs just to avoid feeling the ultimate belief that they have about themselves, that they are nothing, and they will always be nothing because they are weak and inferior. Yeah, narcissists are actually weaker than us. Gaslighting allows the narcissist to feel safe and secure because healthy is a hostile environment to them. Gaslighting helps them control their inner environment as well as the outside work environment. See, the outside world is very hostile to the narcissist because they hate themselves, and they know if they hate themselves, then they know that we must hate them too. And we do when we find out who they truly are, right? So just think about this for a moment. Just give yourself some pause here. What kind of person would have to be, what kind of person would you have to be to decide to become a gaslighting narcissist? Like, if you knew yourself to be a human reject, incapable of being an upstanding moral citizen, what would you do if you needed someone's empathy to help you live a life of productivity? You'd use gaslighting techniques to isolate and separate an individual from themselves, their autonomy, their mind, their heart. And you would use gaslighting ways to separate them from society and everything that's beneficial to them, their family members, their children even. Just so that you could control and direct an individual, that individual, how you wanted because you feel so low about yourself. Just take a pause to see what that really means. Just see it for what it is. If you as a gaslighter, your goal is to make your victim feel so low about themselves to the point that they feel like dying, or they are questioning God and their purpose in life just so that you can feel better, it's like you're in competition of who's the better loser here. And your goal is to make them feel worse than what you feel about yourself, so you can tell yourself and look at yourself in the mirror and tell other people quite proudly that you're not so bad, that you're a good person. You do all this to convince yourself that you are not the loser you think you are. So then you have fuel. This is so frustrating, like, because you then have fuel because someone is so low, you then suck up their negative energy that they have about themselves, and you use that as fuel to get you through the day. But when your tank is empty, you go back to gaslighting them again. Like, seriously, what kind of sick person does this? They're not human. They're a parasite. So what can you do to protect yourself from gaslighting? Well, quite honestly, be yourself by finding yourself, by working out the trauma. Be your own best friend. Be an advocate to yourself. Be an advocate to your wants and your needs and your desires, and stop the people pleasing. I'm not going to use the word codependence here because loving relationships are codependent. But understand your symptoms of abuse. Practice mindfulness and stay grounded and present in your surroundings. Pay attention to who you are interacting with. You don't have to give every single person your attention. Learn the art of being assertive in life and in your communications. Don't be aggressive. Just stand in your integrity. You don't compromise that for anything. Don't allow yourself to fall into the trap of reacting to the gaslight with your emotions, because that's what they want. So go gray rock. Show no emotion. No smiling, no getting upset. Don't show frustration. Don't show fear or anger. Approach the gaslight with curiosity. Like a parent is listening to their young child telling a tall story. The parent doesn't get emotionally invested. And when the child is done, the parent just like, oh, I see. My parents used to always go, that would annoy me to bits. But approach the gaslight with curiosity by using just a one-word response. Interesting. Or you can say, that's curious. Don't engage and do not accept the gaslight. Don't absorb that negative energy. Just stay confident, stay neutral, and use the gaslight as a way to just collect evidence, because once you know, you know. Don't let the narcissist insult your intelligence. Stay true to your own smarts. You know yourself best. So know what you know and stand in that knowing. Know what triggers you and deal with those triggers by detaching yourself from those negative feelings. Remain non-committal to the conversation and to the gaslighter. Distance your emotions from them. Know when it's time to leave the conversation and the relationship. I also recommend learning of the different types of gaslighting, the different types of techniques that the narcissist uses, because gaslighting is insidious and it's confusing. They will throw every illogical slant at you, preying upon your intellect, trying to get you to emotionally concede. So know your weak areas, as you don't want to expose these weak areas to the gaslighter. Tidy up those weak spots, yes? It is impossible for a narcissist to change. Please know that. So you then have to ask yourself at the end of the day, what does being with somebody who gaslights me, how does that benefit me? It doesn't matter if the gaslighter is a friend, a family member, or even your spouse. Your love and attention will not inspire them to change, because they cannot change. They have no empathy. Can you say that with me? They have no empathy. Say it like a mantra. Get it in there into your heart and your mind, because that is going to be what protects you. Now, I would like to share with you some final thoughts on gaslighting, because gaslighting is so insidious and it brainwashes you to believe something that is not true. It causes you to become complacent with your own mental health and emotional well-being. As your inner narrative becomes brainwashed and reacts to conflict with cognitive dissonance, this is a type of bias that is formed through the trauma bond. Gaslighting is exploitative because it is abuse. Full stop. You can break the stronghold of gaslighting by thinking the narrative through. If what you are told does not make sense, question it. It's okay to ask questions, but you don't always have to ask the questions to the gaslighter. That sometimes and often sets you up for frustration. Instead, journal your questions, take notes, challenge their narrative with your own beliefs and your own experiences of your reality. Trust your gut, trust your instinct, trust the knowledge that you already have, trust yourself. If something doesn't jive with you, what you know to be true, you're probably being hoodwinked. So stay rational. Keep your head in the game by not showing confusion or frustration, because it's when you reveal your feelings to the gaslighter, oh, they know they've got you. So flush out the areas of the narrative by challenging their ambiguity. What do you know? What makes sense to you? Does their narrative fit the mold of teacher? The dog ate my homework. The bottom line is the narcissist is going to spin a narrative. They're going to spin that web of deceit. Don't get caught in it. Don't get caught by staying true to you, and you won't lose yourself to the gaslighter. Now, you can find a ton of info on narcissism and healing from trauma at my online bookstore at www.co-fi.com/Shannon Lynn. A link will be in the description of this video and pinned in the comment section. This is a site where I personally have authored ebooks and e-courses and programs for you to download to help you shift the balance away from trauma. Now, one book in particular that will be of interest to you as far as gaslighting is concerned is my book called Narcissism, the Bad Boy Image. It has both psychological and spiritual insights about narcissism and hidden scientific knowledge about the brain and the 5 brainwave frequencies and how the mind of a narcissist is actually different than the rest of us. In this book, I also have a small chapter on gaslighting, and I share with you how to protect yourself by properly communicating with a narcissist. I also want to mention an ebook called Talk the Talk, Asserting Yourself into Healthy Relationships. This ebook helps to combat the narcissistic control by having you retain your integrity to take care of any conversation and stand your ground without coming across as being abrasive and abusive. It's called Being Assertive. Standing up for yourself in your power is the #1 thing that helps you to redirect the narcissist's objective as you learn to control their behavior by you controlling your own behavior. When the narcissist sees that you cannot be manipulated, they will leave you alone. It's guaranteed that they will. So look for these ebooks and other programs and my one-on-one coaching at my Ko-Fi site. Again, a link is provided for you in the description and in the pinned comments. So in conclusion, gaslighting is a purposeful, manipulative, motive-driven lie that sets out to malign an individual from their integrity and the truth that they hold dear and what they believe. It is a behavioral trait within the behavioral disorder called narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder, and anyone can become a target of abuse and subject to the gaslight. The truth is what sets us free, and the truth is what holds ourselves to the truth. This is what gaslights the gaslighting narcissist, as their gaslighting ways have no effect, to which they become frustrated and then they just leave. They leave us alone because we're too much work. Narcissism is not a disease that can be cured. It's a behavioral disorder that has no cure. Full stop. In my humble opinion, I believe that narcissism is more genetic in its predisposition, that is also spiritually inherited right in the womb, that takes us back to conception. That's why I believe that narcissists can't really be rehabilitated. They can't change their behavior. Now, therapy may help and may give you a facade that maybe therapy is working on their rehabilitation. But one of the protocols of therapy is that if a narcissist stops their therapy protocols at any time, narcissism gets right in there immediately. And this is because the narcissist does not have a change of heart. They do not see anything wrong with their behavior. They're only going to therapy because they need a supply. And if it appears on paper that they've gone to therapy, it looks good, and you're more willing to befriend them. The narcissist does not see anything wrong with their behavior. They can't, because they have no empathy. They have no sympathy for human nature. A narcissist knows that their behavior is wrong, not because they know it's wrong, but because we know it's wrong. It's wrong for us, and they hide their behavior in order to keep the opportunity of their fuel supply going. The narcissist cannot admit that their behavior is wrong. I mean, they can if they're in the public eye because it's getting them credit. But by and large, most narcissists, they can't admit that their behavior is wrong, because that would mean that they have to admit that they are flawed. That is for them a fate worse than death. It's an injury that cuts to the bone. They gaslight themselves into believing that they are not flawed by gaslighting us into believing that they are good people. That is the ultimate gaslight of gaslights. So the best defense is with the best offense. And we can gaslight the gaslighting narcissist simply by staying honest with who we truly are and never forsaking that truth. So, armor up. Go check out my Ko-Fi channel for more insight into healing from narcissistic abuse and trauma, and comment down below your questions, comments, your suggestions, and your story of dealing with a gaslighter. Please consider, while you are there on my Ko-Fi channel, making a purchase or a donation. Your support does help keep me thriving to create content for you full-time, as your support helps me to pay my bills. So thank you so much. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Be blessed. Mwah.